Well, hello everybody. How are we doing? It is Monday night, which means you survived the weekend. I guess I should unmute our players just in case they have something interesting to say. They usually don't. We are.
Hey.
Oh, they don't? Oh, you do? You
Hey.
do have interesting things to say?
I
We have
always
things to
have
say, not
interesting
interesting
things
things, though.
I had myself muted, so it's fine.
He
Yeah.
is self.
He's a self-mutilator. I mean, muted.
What?
Oh,
I
no,
don't,
that's
I don't,
bad.
I don't think that's what that means. Anyways,
That's not PC, bud. That's not PC.
hey, everything you need to know about us is down below in the About section of our Twitch panels, including our family of creators, which we will touch on a little bit of that shortly. This is the Faerun Reborn campaign, one of, I can't count that high, games that I run on a weekly basis. We just recently concluded some tests on Sunday. The studio is officially open for live games. I am currently trying to put together a Sunday brunch game. So if by some crazy situation you are local to Riverside County in Southern California, hit me up. We've got at least 4 open seats. I know Ivar is definitely going to be a part of it. But in the meantime, what we're going to do Sunday mornings is play board games. Every Sunday, we're going to continue to meet up here, talk shop, be silly and stupid, and play rotating board games until we get a Sunday campaign going live in the studio. Last Sunday, it was Castle Panic. It's in our library, so go check it out. It was lots of fun. I love that game. I'm so addicted to that game. It's a really fun cooperative game, but it's quite competitive when you get near the end of the game. It's interesting. But I believe next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons Monopoly, a gift that was gotten for me, or potentially Dungeons and Dragons Clue. We have both.
Oh my god.
So,
Depends on how long we have, because
Yeah.
Monopoly will take a whole lot longer than
Than
Clue
Clue
will.
will, yeah. So
And
we'll,
Clue
we'll,
is so much more awesome.
so
Sorry.
depending on the window, we do have other games. We have
I mean, you
a
might as well just play a
couple.
regular session of D&D if it's going to be that long. Like,
We
Never
have
know.
a-
Who done it?
You know, we have a Star Wars card game. We have some Magic the Gathering board games. We have Hero Realms. We have lots of different. We have Catan, a couple Oregon Trail games. We have Minecraft, Munchkins. We have a whole bunch of board games. We're going to continue to add to the collection and make that kind
And then
of a
there's
fun.
what is the D&D? Oh shoot, what is it? That box that's Brandon's.
Yeah,
that
that's
one?
it's a Magic the Gathering one.
No, he's got a different one that's D&D.
Then it's not here. Oh, you mean Gloom? Is not Gloomhaven. It's Temple of Elemental Evil. We also have
That's it. We have
We
Temple
also
of
have
Elemental
Temple
Evil.
of Elemental Evil, and hopefully when Brandon can join us on a Sunday morning, we'll get him. So me, Brendan, Ivar, and Callista hopefully can meet up this coming Sunday morning and get another live game going and do our continued testing and tweaking.
We're gonna.
I'm learning all about these. I wish I could show you guys this really cool soundboard. I'm learning so much about this, courtesy of Valev's teaching, which that will take us to. Hey, Valev, what are you working on these days?
oh, I am building a school bus into a mobile production studio so that I can travel the country and collaborate with as many creatives as possible. Producing a podcast called The General Adventuring Company that is also a video production that's on YouTube. And that's really fun. We release episodes on Tuesday, so that we got a new episode coming out tomorrow, which is super exciting. Information for that is down in the About stuff as well. Yes, Jason, I know I need to get you the EMP Studios logo, but that is the name of my production company, EMP Studios. He's been asking me for it for like 2 weeks now. But yeah, and then games here. Sunday, part of the Debtor's Gambit campaign, as well as Faerun Reborn. Faerun Reborn. Wow.
Reborn.
That's hard of the...
I
Yeah,
got new
rebundified.
buns. My other ass had a crack in it, so I got new buns. Kai, what do you got going on these days?
Oh, the usual ASAT, a seat at the table. We are partnering with Nico from A Fool's Quest to make a gigantic network of podcasts. So hopefully all of that works out really well. I'm also on days. I am on Twitch, and every other Sunday I'm on Twitch. So I post those all over Discord and on Twitter. Just Jen, hello. All of you guys probably know me by now. So, yeah, those are all the things that I am doing, plus playing random various games wherever I can.
Nice. And
A lot of play games.
Ivar, what do you got going on? When you're not on mute.
Nothing much, just chilling. I do have some artwork on Redbubble. It's on Darkwind Designs. It's game inspired for the most part. So if something weird happens in the game, I tend to draw something about it and put it up.
Death is just a cold hug.
That's right. Don't give me any one-liners to use, because I'll turn it into artwork.
So with that, we do have a new player joining us tonight from our Discord. Tusk, go ahead and let everybody know who you're going to be playing.
Hello, my name is Tusk, or otherwise known as Apollo Phoenix. That's who I will be playing in this campaign.
If he's got to look it up, he's already in trouble.
Oh, he's a human rogue barbarian.
A rogue that can rage. This is going to be interesting.
This is epic.
I would like to rage, and I would like to sneak attack.
So let's go ahead and recap really quick. Now, where we last left off, our friends or individuals that own the Chimera Mercantile of the community within Whist and are now prominent figures within the organization and royal leadership of the Silverhand family, find themselves going down paths after they learn something very interesting. They learn that the current version of Silverhand is one of many versions that both Vert and Tamlin have made efforts to stabilize and bring into existence. They've been using a device called the Refraction Cube to go back into points in time and pull in different versions of Lord Silverhand. Lord Silverhand in the histories was a very popular, successful, and quite intelligent member of a rather large series of monarchy families within the Midland kingdoms. Most, if not all, the other families were decimated or destroyed during the Rift Wars. It was Tamlin and Vert's hope, by creating this newer version, or a kind of version of Silverhand, give the people of this desperate world a favor that's collapsed into total anarchy, and all the old city-states are gone. Civilization is barely a thing. But by bringing Lord Silverhand's image back, or bringing his personage back to this period of time, they've never been able to solve the inevitable death of Lord and Lady Silverhand. However, this recent version that is about to help bring on the celebration of the opening of the Maw Bridge, well, he has been stabilized. He has been cured of whatever curse or ailment or whatever effect he was suffering under. And the new Silverhand, this particular version of Silverhand. However, as our team was traveling to the Maw Bridge, they came across an image known as a lost soul. Once they were introduced at the Maw Bridge, understood the timeline, and had some time on their own, it was also at this point that Max went north to the Red Wizards of Thay to discover more about himself and the discovery of who it is to be Maximilian, which turns out to be his full name, Maximilian the Red. A very powerful mage that had immersed themselves into a reliquary mask to hide from the effects of the Rift War and the eventual collapse of the arcane weave that maintains the spells and the way arcane magic works throughout Faerun. We also saw Derek take a bit of a break. He answered the call of a dryad friend that he had made, and this dryad had news and information about a missing friend, and he currently will be spending some time resolving that. But Derek will be back in August after he's done serving his duty and doing his reserve work. So Derek, we know you can't hear us, but thank you. We also, the team spent a day going to the Blackwood and trying to resolve whatever this lost soul is, as it was quite dangerous, potentially hazardous to travelers along the road. But, you know, it did bear resemblance to a very desiccated and older looking version of Silverhand. This intrigued our team. They wanted to find where it was anchored to, try to figure out what was the circumstance. And sure enough, they did. They found a ruined building of some sort, and underneath a statue, they found the desiccated remains of what could possibly be a version of Silverhand that was unaccounted for, or some other possible situation. But they managed to defeat the ghostly specter of the lost soul that had cursed this embodiment of Silverhand, recovered both the corpse and the planar chair of shifting that it was associated and bound to. They had seemed to have done the main task, which was to get rid of whatever this was, make the road safe for those that will be passing by here, because as we're about to see the Maw Bridge over the Maw Chasm open up and let in thousands of refugees from the greater Midlands, this is going to be a very important route for them to travel through. All of you are now, I believe, traveling on flying insects, if I recall, some on the carpet. Since the carpet could only carry one, and the corpse as well as the chair. All of you are making your way back to the Maw Chasm construction site. The rain has finally abated. It's not nearly as bad as it was before. And where we last left off, you're on your way back. At this point, you guys are in the air. You're maybe a couple hours away from returning to the construction site and the Maw Chasm Bridge. Is there anything you'd like to do while you're traveling back?
I'd like to keep my eye out for anything interesting.
Yeah, you know, like anything like maybe people flying giant wasps and flying carpets, carrying a chair and a corpse, that kind of interesting.
Well, that's
Yep.
what we're on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything
I think they do,
interesting
other than that.
other than us.
Did you change your microphone, Kai? You sound echoey now.
Oh, nope, did not.
Weird. Sounds like you've ran away and you're talking from the kitchen.
Oh, no. Nope, I'm still right here, right next to it.
Strange. I wonder if it's a tech issue.
I'm gonna run away and
Let me
talk from the
twist
kitchen.
it. Yeah, I'm like, I'll go to my kitchen.
Bring me back something.
Is it sounding
Cookies,
any
cookies,
better?
cookies.
I just turned you up on Discord, so it's a little bit louder,
Okay.
so I can hear you.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
As soon
I
as
didn't do
it was
anything.
weird. As soon as we started the stream, your microphone kind of did a weird echoey thing. But it's fine. I'll just adjust it. I just adjusted it on Discord. It'll survive. So with all of you traveling back towards the Maw Chasm and to the...
I think it turned itself off. Might be a thing.
Gotcha. You are traversing the skyline, making your way back towards the construction site. Once you return to the construction site, you manage to land just outside of the area. Oddly enough, you can see a ram and a horse tethered together nearby, as they seem to have made it back as well. The construction site is actually in a different mood of busyness. They are packing up and they are concluding a lot of the construction area. It's less than a day until Lord Silverhand commences the celebration of opening the bridge, which is expected to happen sometime tomorrow. This is now, most of the work site is beginning the process of closing down, with the exception of the few Aarakocra and some of the others that are helping with the cabling, the roping of the bridge, and getting the last bits of sections of the bridge stabilized, secure, and properly prepared for when it's going to open on the following day. So it's a bit of an already kind of pre-celebration that's going on. You can still see, as it's now transitioning from early evening or late afternoon to early evening as you arrive, the many campfires on the other side of the bridge are coming into light and into existence. You can hear music playing on both sides of the chasm as there's this kind of preamble of celebration going on. The idea that a major event is about to be celebrated tomorrow. Entire sections of the vast plains that have been cut off for centuries are about to have a direct route and ability to travel towards Whist and the old central Kingdom of Bith, which would then give them the ability to go down to the Chultian desert, towards the coast, or up north into the deep ice spine of the world, and be able to get up into these new locations that people couldn't get to before. But this also means that isolation is no longer reliable. People have access, people can move. The desperate now know of this place. They now know of the name Silverhand. Even the name Chimera Mercantile seems to have, begun to pop up in conversation as wealth and prosperity and a measure of stability is returning to a very specific area. And this opening of this bridge seems to kind of announce this to everybody out there in the world.
We're doing it, guys.
All of you land. The insect creatures kind of disappear out of existence. You eventually make your way towards the main central camp, where all the different pavilions are set up.
Get the ram and the horse. We don't forget the ram and the horse.
Okay, you grab them as well to take them over to where you can have them stabled over by your tents. As you're within the main cadre of the council, you're in the main area where, all the officers and advisors, the main bodyguards to Silverhand. Silverhand himself is currently in the main pavilion in the very center of this location. It's very busy with a couple soup kitchens that are ramping up in preparation for the nighttime meal. Campfires are being lit. Eventually, you guys make it back into the main camp. There are awkward stares as you are carrying a bundle in a canvas bag and a very strange chair. There seems to be kind of looks of concern. For you, I'm not sure if it was you, Omni. It might have been you. Where is
The
he?
left?
Yeah.
Belev, not Omni.
Oh, yeah, sorry. See, I did it already. Didn't take long.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of the firebrand guard that you met?
Oh,
It was you, Gulshaw. Yeah, it was you.
yeah, I met him.
I have a couple names here, and I forgot to highlight it.
Just give me a second. Vimac.
Yep, there it is.
Firebrand's
Yep.
Mercs.
Yep.
Working for Silverhand.
There is Vimac. He is there, the huge bald Goliath standing there speaking with what appears to be both Vert and Tamlin that are standing there. There's a fourth person standing there as well. Apollo, go ahead and describe yourself, please.
Unmute.
Paulo is probably about 6'1", regular, averagely good shaped human, wearing you'd see more as tribal clothes, very like near naked, but not straight, like just like caveman. Where he's
Caveman,
more-
Neanderthal
So you're wearing
style.
a loin-
There's a nut.
You're wearing a loincloth. You got a butt
Yes.
flap on.
Oh,
Butt flap. Butt flap. Butt flap. Butt flap. Butt flap.
That
Butt
flap.
flap.
Yep.
Butt flap. Butt flap.
And wear any
I may enjoy
shoes.
saying butt flap a little bit too much.
Maybe.
And you can see this individual is standing alongside Vimac, as well as Tamlin and Vert and Lord Silverhand. They're all in deep conversation about something, maybe timing or expected execution of the celebrations. You watch as Vert kind of eyeballs the lot of you walking into the central area, holds up his hand to the others and walks away from the conversation to see all of you. And his half-orc smile is beaming as he sees all of you. It's been a while. It's been a few since he's seen you. He goes, "Oh, my friends, you look well. Where have you been?"
Taking care of a situation.
"Oh,
Yeah.
We have something for you to take a look at also when you have some time.
Yeah, we should.
absolutely. You do bring me some of the most interesting things."
It's a chair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there
No.
somewhere we could talk about it maybe?
Well,
Cheap
I have
little
my
bit
pavilion
of
over here. We
fun.
could certainly go over there and speak
Let's,
in private if that's what you choose to do.
I think that would be good.
Well,
Apollo once.
You probably don't want to
wa-
sit on it.
Don't sit on the chair.
No, don't sit on the chair.
Vert. Who's that?
Apollo confidently walks over there and is over here like, who are your interesting friends here?
Oh, young Apollo. Sorry, forgive my rudeness. This is Arena, Honeypot, Goldshaw, Kai Star, Lady Silverhand, Valev. Everybody, this is Apollo Phoenix. He's done some field work for me and his lordship before, but he insisted on coming out to see the celebrations and the opening of the bridge. You don't mind if he joins us, do you? While we discuss whatever it is we need to discuss. He can be trusted, I can assure you.
Okay.
So he
With
leads.
your confirmation, I agree.
He leads the five of you over towards where his pavilion is located. There's a couple of the Crown's Guard, the Silverhand guards out in front. They nod. All of you make your way in. It's a weird feeling. As you all cross the threshold, you're suddenly inside a massive mansion.
I want this spell.
Sorry. This is definitely not a pavilion. This is a 3-storied internal kind of like laboratory and almost like residence that's kind of like in existence magically. And Vert kind of looks at all of you and goes, "Well, I can't travel without my stuff."
Vert, I want to know this spell.
Well, it's not quite a spell, dear, but we can discuss it later.
Yeah.
Go. Well, please.
So did Lord Silverhand talk to you about the thing that we saw in the forest?
Something about a lost soul. He did mention it to me. These are creatures that we know of. Don't also often see them.
Well, we found its lair.
It was under a giant
Lair
statue.
was a giant statue that looks like it was damaged, but it definitely was a Silverhand statue. And
It was very old.
and the spirit surprisingly looked very much like Lord Silverhand.
The spirit looked like his lordship.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
That is strange indeed.
We found a chair there that there was a skeleton strapped to.
We brought the skeleton.
Oh,
Uh,
you
But
brought
And
the...
the
it's
chair.
distinctly
And-
disturbing to Kai.
and
I would imagine so.
someone identified who
I identified the chair.
Okay.
It was
An Arena
pulling it up,
identified the
pulling it up.
chair as a
I
Chair of
identified
planar
as
shift
room.
and teleportation.
yes.
Interesting. Could you have someone bring that in, please?
Yeah, I'll have it still on my like flying
Carpet.
carpet.
Flying carpet came in with him.
Whoa, wait, what? A flying what?
Flying rug.
I'd
Like
really
the thing
like.
on the floor.
Did you miss it?
I would really like to see that. I only got here a few hours ago.
Well, I bring
Apollo
the
is
chair
also
in.
shocked by this.
Yeah,
I'll
like
bring the chair
Apollo
in
and
on
Bert
it-
are
on
like
it.
jaws
It's
open,
all-
like oh,
The chair's on it.
yeah. I'll say the chair and the corpse are on it, and and it kind of comes floating into the pavilion. You can see the two guards' faces look in with like complete shock on their face as this thing like self kind of like brings in the chair and just kind of settles onto the ground. You watch as Vert kind of just stares at the carpet, but then stares at the chair, and then stares at the bundle.
You can't have the carpet.
I kind of gathered that, but one
Yeah.
could stare longingly at something so rare.
Oh, and
I'll give
looking
you a
at my
ride on
note,
it later.
Oh, good.
It
That
was.
would be fun.
I think it was Kai that identified the chair.
Ah,
I don't know
Okay,
if I
Kai, I'm sorry.
identified the chair. I think I did identify everything else in the room, though.
No, I think you did both because I don't
Did
have
I do
identify.
both?
This character
okay.
doesn't have
Then,
identify. I was.
okay.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah.
it was me.
That was
so,
you.
Some of the 50 other games.
Yeah. Sorry.
Apollo, would you do me a kindness, please? Would you
Yes.
carry the bundled corpse over to my examination table for me?
Yes.
Thank you. We will be looking at that shortly. Then please come back and join us. We need to figure out this chair. This chair definitely seems like a relic. I've never heard of anything being able to do such things. So, teleportation, enchantment, plenty of shift as an identification. Do you think if you were to sit in it, you could invoke it? Does it seem like something
Well,
that works as a
we wrote-
gateway?
We wrote down the glyphs
Ah,
that were underneath it.
may I take a look at those?
Kai,
I'll
was that
hand
you?
over my
Yeah.
notebook, yeah.
Okay.
All of
He
everything.
reaches out and kind of gently takes the notebook from you and begins to thumb through the pages of your notes. Interesting. I'm unfamiliar with these magics. Although, I don't know if you've noticed, but these glyphs are very similar to some of those glyphs that you identified in the Fire Giant one when those teleportation portals were being invoked. I recognize them from my scribe's notes. You know, the one that tried to have us all killed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Bad scribe. No biscuit.
So, what was the condition of the corpse? How did you find him? What was their disposition?
And,
The corpse
didn't
was
seem
chained to the
that
chair.
old. It was chained to the chair. And all of this had a look to it, but it wasn't that it was old.
Let's look at the corpse now and see if it looks any different from it looked when we pulled it off the chair.
Okay, so all five of you, including Vert, make your way over to where the Apollo has laid out the canvas and tarpaulin, and the corpse is the kind of desiccated both skeleton and kind of like skin and muscle remains of the corpse are laid out. And you just see as Vert just kind of stares at it with kind of like an edge of curiosity in his face.
Does it look like
And,
it changed?
Apollo's investigating it as well.
Okay.
Does it look like it
17.
changed?
If anybody wants to make investigation, go ahead and roll.
Yeah,
Okie
17.
dokie.
Okay, 17 for Kai.
Investigation. I got a
Unless
19.
I have advantage. But yeah, we'll go with her 19.
Oh, you're right. Now that your microphone is fixed, I can turn
Thank
you back.
Yes, I fixed it.
And you're back down.
Yay!
I can turn you. I can
Turn her
turn you.
down.
It turned off. I don't know what its thing was. It decided to go with my laptop mic.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why it was sounding that way.
Yeah, it just shut off for some
Yeah.
weird reason.
What
Bad
everybody?
machine. No biscuit.
So, Arena, what'd you get?
Mhm.
I got a 19.
Okay. Gulshad, did you roll?
No.
Nope. Okay. Kai, you got a 19. Apollo, what'd you get?
17.
So-
I
12.
got
12.
17.
Valev, did you want to roll at all? Okay. So for those of you kind of like taking some time to examine it, it looks pretty much the same way that it did when you discovered it and then wrapped it up in the canvas and the tarp.
Okay.
It definitely has signs and appearances of Lord Silverhand, the jawbone and the cheekbone structure, the forehead, the height, the overall fact that it is male and even has strands of like-minded hair, just kind of slightly desiccated coming off the skull. Vert looking down at it and just kind of just gets this weird look on his face. Well, one certainly cannot deny the appearance of Lord Silverhand in this visage. So, the spirit of whatever it was destroyed. You recovered the chair and the body. The effect of the spirit, that was magical in nature as well.
Seemed like it was tied to the statue and tied to a pile of bones. And when Arena used her magic to dispel the statue, the entity evaporated.
I
Interesting.
got sucked into the pile of bones.
Interesting. Almost like it was tethered to the spot, and the gate was the chair and the body.
And
Yes, and I was going to ask if this had anything to do with, people tampering with things and bringing people
Well,
into
we
the
know-
plane and etc.
We know since the disappearance of your friend, who had closed the portal back at Whist, we know from our scribe notes that in Tercasta's lair and the fire giant worn tunnels underneath the volcano, somebody is clearly trying to tap into the weave and use the ability to open up portals. This feels like similar magic, but it feels like it was mostly conducted through the creature bound to the chair. And, I mean, it's quite possible the spirit itself was not destroyed, but merely sent back to wherever it was conjured through. And
Shall we test it?
I'm intrigued by that notion, but is it usable by the living or only usable by the dead?
That's what we were hoping you could tell us.
Well, I mean, I know natural magic's not dissimilar from what young Valev can understand from the idea of natural order, shamanistic interpretation, and the nature of the land. I use trickery and infusions to manage my sense of magic, not unlike how Kai does some of her magic. Most do not dabble in the arcane anymore. It's a lost art. This is things that we are beginning to learn. These portals appearing, though, still have some concern about this. Something is tapping into a very destructive weave.
I was more thinking of an animate object.
Oh, we could try that. That's not a bad idea. Perhaps put a statue or an item in the chair and see if that can invoke some kind of reaction from the chair. Arena, you would.
What about
It doesn't
familiar?
bring up her dad
Oh,
again,
we could
Kai,
certainly.
will help.
We could certainly put a familiar in there. Arena, do you speak with the dead by chance? Do you have that ability?
Do I have it prepped? Let me check. Checking.
You might.
I can, but I have to sleep on it first.
Preparation is the key to success.
Yeah.
Kai, do you still have your little construct?
Yes, I do. Would you like me to place stacks there?
Well, at the very least, it'll tell us if it's a living or dead requirement of the chair.
She pulls Dax out and asks him if he wants to go forward.
There's a series of clacks and whirs, and his little metal head kind of bobs up and down.
Okay, brave friend. I will bring you back if this goes wrong.
You watch as the little metallic construct, almost puppet in size, clangs up onto the chair, turns around, and sits almost like a small little boy in a big giant throne. Its metallic surface, gears, and everything whirring all around it. You watch as Vert kind of looks at some of the glyphs. His finger traces over a couple things, and then he casts his hand and makes an invocation, semantic and kind of audible sound at the same time. Everybody kind of standing and looking. Nothing happens. I'm not sure if we have to attune to it or not, or how this thing may work, but clearly an inanimate or not living subject is not capable of being a focus of its power.
Kai calls back Dax to her shoulder.
Dax kind of like jumps off the chair and starts clacking over towards you. Clack, 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 clack. Uh-oh. I think Tusk dropped something.
Oh.
I think Tusk took a dive off the desk.
Ah!
Ah, whack.
See, that's what happens when you see a spider come at you.
Yes.
Ah! So what happens to the spiders 90% of the time, guys. You guys
my
are
gosh.
welcome.
Oh my gosh. We have tarantulas on our property.
Oh,
no.
don't tell me that. I'll never come
Please.
over.
Yeah, I'm not gonna visit you now.
Big
Hi.
brown tarantulas that get stuck in the pool.
Oh,
Wait to find a live one.
Yeah, yes, folks, she's kind of weird
You
that
want
way.
I can't wait to find a live one.
Oh my god,
mm.
you want one. Yeah, of course.
So, question.
Ugh.
Do we treat this chair as a point of interest, or do we simply assume it was a portal, a conduit for something to project its power through, and it's been properly taken care of and not to worry about, or do we
No, this-
continue?
Watched.
I always worry about everything because this is what they do. They deceive, they trick. They probably wanted us to bring this chair here so they could invoke something into it to
Oh, crap.
attack us.
Who's,
think about that.
Who's they,
Anyone?
Gulshaw? Who do you mean?
Merkill,
Oh,
the
The-
Lord of Bones.
those individuals over at the Jasper mining colony. The slavers who seem to have acquired the taste for the pantheon known as Merkel, the old god from a very long time ago. That's the one that you're
Yes.
referring to.
Yes.
What makes you think they're involved?
Everything that's been happening to us has been them. They've been conjuring portals to send monsters through to attack us.
Do we know this for a fact?
Yes, I do know it for a fact.
Based on what?
Based on my hammer.
I'm sorry, is that a sexual joke?
No,
Aw,
it's
man.
not.
Your hammer.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along
So-
blog, man. Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
I acquired this hammer from my god and from the god Baal. And it has special powers, and one of it was when I smited one of these monsters.
That he
It
sent
draws
after
me in, and it shows me where this monster originated.
And,
And it-
where did it
Man.
originate from?
It originated in the Tocosta's lair.
Ah, interesting.
Yes.
May I see this hammer?
I mean, with your eyes. He probably won't let you hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Only
I
those
don't
that
know
are
if something
truly
would happen to you.
worthy
I held it. I
are
don't
able
know.
to wield
Gold
hammer
Shaw,
of
Gold
Shaw.
What?
Go show someone like, here you go.
He just met you. How does he know you're worthy?
It's a real two-fister.
The hammer will know.
And this guy, Apollo, examines it and is over here like, well crafted.
It's
Very
very.
well crafted.
It's made of like a black mist. It's super light. Doesn't seem like it would do much.
I mean, it's super light if you're worthy.
Mhm.
If
Maybe.
you would.
I don't know. I'm not the
Fair.
DM. You describe it.
From what you recall, the hammer is made from the remnants of a star fragment that had fallen
Right.
to Faerun. One side is a skull, the other side is a tree of life. Wielding it invokes certain powers and abilities. You take some time to explain this to Vert. So a vision or the magic itself of the hammer showed you that these creatures in Tercasta's lair are the ones that may be invoking these portals. Targeting you or the others specifically? Because it seems odd that the location of this particular creature is so, well, I definitely won't call it random, but it doesn't seem overtly specific. It seems as if it existed somewhere that could have never been noticed unless it wandered from its anchor point
It
for whatever
did.
reason.
It did wander. And
Well-
it would be wandering right now with all these new people coming through from the Maw Chasm. It would have wandered through them eventually. It sucks the life force out of anything that it meets with its wail.
Mm. And I'm
It almost got Derek.
It's
Yeah.
not unnoticeable.
does it
Derek almost was taken over by it, but we were able to save him.
and do they become extensions of it then? Is that the challenge that we face with this particular creature?
It seemed to me that he was changing into one of these creatures, yes.
So if there
He's
was
kind
a
of going transparent.
unending column of newcomers making their way down towards the western regions of Bith. So we could
Right.
safely assume we are being stopped, hunted, being harassed, or
Sure.
are these byproducts of them attempting to recover the weave?
Would your men be able to stop it?
We don't even understand what we're trying to stop. We understand that the Jasper mining colony is overrun with these slavers, and they need to be dealt with. Captain Brackus is seeing to that. His forces
I
have
don't
not yet left.
know. I don't know if he's going to see to anything other than turning his entire army into some type of undead legion that will turn on us.
Well, that's very specific, Gulshaw. Another vision.
I just see what they do there. We've seen what they do there.
Well, we know we've weakened them,
And-
though. You recovered the gnome, the one sent to rebuild the forge. He's been recovered. You destroyed that encampment. There were some unfortunate attritions involved. But Scorch is
dragon?
nothing, well, I'm not going to argue with Scorch.
If you think
No,
about it,
Neither.
if you think about this and go back a little, several weeks, the Minotaur that allowed itself to be captured only to turn into a massive undead creature in the middle of Whist that we had to fight. The
Well-
portals that opened up underneath the
So
the
let's
fire
dis-
giant's lair.
let's discuss the Minotaur for a second. Frostfur captured one of their wagons. The only survivor was that Minotaur. So is it possible that the Minotaur simply was an opportunity, and it would have done that eventually on its own anyways in the appropriate situation? What I'm trying to understand, are these planned and coordinated efforts, or are these merely two very large groups, us and them, colliding and trying to sort each other out? I mean, you've definitely
Well-
weakened their ability to operate on the western frontiers of Bith. We know this to be
I don't
true.
know. I don't know that. You might know more than I.
I know
But
not nearly as much as you do about these slavers. I'm learning as we
But-
deal with them.
they are turning out abominations, and these abominations are being sent via portal. It seems to be very often right in front of our group. that we have to deal with these creatures.
So it's possible.
It could have then been there to attack the caravan, but
Granted, we're not saying
oftentimes
it's
we're
our
there.
fault, just so we're clear. Not saying it's
Hi,
because of
was it?
us.
It's not our fault.
Just
No, it's not our fault.
wanted to make sure that
But we are
we weren't
a
blamed.
force in the area that has to be reckoned with. So I imagine that they don't like
Us.
and particular
Yes.
who I worship and what I believe in and my powers.
So, we do know that the abomination of the basilisk that you discovered was something that was altered. We know this. We also know that perhaps the portals in the fire giant warrens were experiments, practices, or something they had already started and could not control. That is one possibility. If they did open those portals and unleash that monstrosity on the main road here, is it possible that Silverhand could have been the target?
I believe he and Whist are the targets because they are a shining beacon of light in this land, and the only hope anyone in this land has for any semblance of law and order. That's why it's being attacked. That's why they want to get rid of Silverhand and Whist and plunge this place into chaos so they can take slaves and do what they do.
But I don't feel like their actions are chaotic. I feel like their actions are very specific.
What are your thoughts on them, Kai and Alien? Was it?
Arena.
Verena.
Yeah.
Arena.
Audible gasp, but yes, I'm sure they're targeting my father.
So, if Lord Silverhand is the target, one could assume their intent is to usurp what he controls, guaranteeing them more hands and souls to do what they want to do. That doesn't feel like chaos to me. That feels like purpose. We know they've taken over the Jasper mining colony. We know they have the capability of augmenting creatures. We know that they are trying to do their best to master a broken magic that has been dangerous for most of us to even attempt to use. We know there's a history of these Merkle creatures from the past. We know they are a organization of sorts, and that this old god is thought to be dead for centuries, even before the culmination of the Rift Wars. This all sounds organized, designed to appear chaotic. I think, if that makes... I don't know. It just... Chaos feels to me like they would be operating in small organizations and simply taking captives.
I don't mean chaos. I mean, they could be organized. I believe they are organized. I believe it's Merkel that's has its hand in this.
They are focused on us and
And they're
my
focused
father.
on this area.
But would a god truly care? I don't know. Most people don't even believe that the gods exist anymore, let alone that a god is getting involved.
You need to stop saying that.
Well, I can't stop what I don't know.
This hammer is proof that
Proof
the
to
gods
you, Golshaw.
are
Proof to you.
taking an interest in this area. Mistra is taking an interest in this land again. Magic is becoming less chaotic. I'm sure you felt it.
I don't dabble in the arcane. I have no way of knowing this. It would seem your pipeline to the Pantheons is the one that's securing your positivity in this matter. I'm not denying that you feel that this is a plausible assumption. But for the better past of 200 plus years, our complete abandonment of us has led us into near extinction. So it will take time. It's not easy to convince people that have been abandoned for so long that the gods are taking an interest again.
Why do you think Lord Silverhand isn't sick anymore?
I know
Well-
nothing of your gods. I only know what I see, but I do see them focusing on us.
Well, I would imagine it was because of what Arena did.
No, magic will
Partially.
stay chaotic. It's very uncontrollable. From what I've seen.
I'm not an arcane practicer. I'm a cleric.
I asked the Raven Queen to intercede on Lord Silverhand's behalf, to bring what was left of him in the past into the present, to make him whole in this area so that we could find some stability in the region.
He kind of
And I
looks
thank
from you
for
to the
all that you
others.
have done.
He's kind of looking at Gulshaw and then kind of looks at the others at the same time. Looks over to Valev and Apollo and back at the corpse on the table. Well, we also know that these individuals are very good at inserting themselves secretly into our own council. We saw that with the scribe. Is it safe to assume that there is something waiting for us on the other side of the chasm?
Most assuredly.
Yes, definitely.
So do we advise them not to open the bridge? Do we advise them to postpone the celebrations?
It might be wise for us to go over and find out what awaits us.
There's a
Valev?
lot of individuals over there.
Your thoughts?
Huh? Where are we going?
Are we opening the Maw Chasm Bridge, or are we
Your
going
thoughts
over
on this subject?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, are we going across the bridge, or... I wasn't paying attention.
Because we need to think about whether or not we have a celebration opening it, or whether we go over and see what is awaiting on the other side.
Well, I mean, are
What's
we going to
awaiting
go
on-
over either way?
What's awaiting on the other side might not show itself until we have the celebration, though,
That
and we
is
open the
fair.
bridge.
That is fair.
So...
Very true.
I've been onto the
Sure.
other side. I don't see anything other than a massive amount of individuals that want to come across here.
It could be waiting for us in the chasm, so we could explore the caves down there.
What if we can get a hold of Scorch, and Scorch can just fly over and check it out?
Well, we can fly over using those wasps again. We don't need.
Yeah,
Scorch.
but
Use-
I was thinking more of if something is bad and
I
scary
mean,
and
and
big
for
and
all
dangerous, we could just
practical
eat it.
and for all practical purposes, the bridge construction is completed. They're just going to celebrate its opening the next day. So getting onto the other side is not that difficult. The Aarakocra that keep flying back and forth are mostly just assisting in the last kind of preparatory work on the bridge.
Construction and whatnot. Yeah.
Currently, the bridge is closed. There's Crown's Guard and personal bodyguard of Silverhand maintaining a cordon on the bridge to, prevent anyone from getting over without knowing who they are or what they're doing. This would be common knowledge that you guys would have already known.
Mm-hmm.
But getting to the other side is not that great of a difficulty. In fact, Gulshaw, you've already had a conversation with Vimac in regards to what the Fiery Brand do for Lord Silverhand, and takes the time to insert his own kind of bodyguard style patrols amongst the encampment on the other side to kind of maintain at least a little bit of semblance of order and control. The only real challenge is the fact that thousands just keep appearing day to day.
And I'm having flashbacks to when Scorch came in to help us, which, yes, thank God he did. But imagine that in a celebration of opening the bridge.
I didn't mean
Do
if
we
we were
want
doing
that?
the party. I meant if we did it instead
Yeah,
of the party happening. No.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then we
Uh,
want him. Yes. Yep.
Apollo,
Yep.
Yes.
Got it.
how long have you been here?
3 months.
3 months. On the other side of the bridge?
Very exploration, going much on what's called different chasms of exploring the bridge and on each side of the bridge.
What are your feelings? Do you think there's something waiting on the other side of that bridge?
There's always something, but I am very paranoid of my surroundings.
Have you noticed anything particular?
Like,
I don't know. I'm asking you. Have you noticed any
Big scary monsters or demons or
groups
or evil mean people
strange
that
people? Yes.
sell people. Anything like that?
I fight my demons every day, but
Wow, he's harder to talk to than I am.
You two are gonna get along great. No.
Yep.
But yes, I do see very many demons, and I try not to scratch towards them on my own.
Where did you see those?
Let's see. It'll be right past the chasms. Let's see. I can't see the map for the life of me.
Should send you a new copy of it.
I know it's kind of blurry on this one.
Yeah, we have copies of it.
Constructs the site mock chasm. Okay.
You got it, Gulshaw?
Yeah, so you saw him north of the... Well, I think that's east, actually. Up on this is east, right, Jason?
Yes.
Okay. So, east, how far east of the Maw Chasm?
Well, I mean, he comes from the high plains. He comes from areas that have been isolated and insular for the better part of over a couple hundred years. Most of Apollo's exploration of the chasm would be on just that side, the eastern side. Since the bridge has not been completed and no one has really been crossing over the Maw Chasm since. But now that the bridge is complete, this is why all the refugees are gathering. So anything Apollo would have experienced or interacted with would have been on that eastern side of the chasm.
Oh. So there's demons on that side of the chasm. What did they look like?
Your typical demons, you know.
Did they have horns?
Yeah, we run into
Did
them
they
sometimes.
have flaming skin? Were they like red, black?
I'd say it's called
Did they
very
float?
various winged demons.
Fire?
There's probably various winged demons. A couple ones, you know, the typical fairy tale ones, and very little. No, those little green things. I'm not too familiar. Those the little horn, not horns, but like almost like elf eels. They're about like 2-3 feet tall, green.
Yeah,
Goblins?
gremlins.
Goblins?
Oh, goblins.
Those
Gremlins.
things annoying, very annoying.
Were you working for Vert or?
I've only just recently acquired the company of Apollo. He was introduced to me by Vimek.
Oh, all right.
Now, he has done work for me in the past from the other side. This is my first time actually being in personal association with him.
Sorry, no offense.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Actually,
Kind of look over to Kai and see. Oh, how is she looking right now? What's her appearance?
Is a little bit distracted just over the whole thought of gremlins slash goblins, because gremlins run amok throughout your laboratory, and thinking of all these demons over there. Yeah.
Do you have your circlet or your visage on right now, or are
No,
you
I
looking like your
am
normal self?
keeping form. Yeah,
Cool,
no,
cool, cool.
guys
So this
all
whole talk about what all the demons look like, I'm just doing a
Yeah,
slow head
sorry,
turn over to
that.
Kai, just like,
Yeah, noted.
one of the things you must understand about Apollo is he is a bit of a paranoid individual. His perspective on things are slightly skewed. Living amongst a land where every day is borrowed time and everything hunts everything else, we have been suspicious of the creatures on that side of the chasm. What we can say for certain is ever since all these individuals have migrated to this point, there have not been any recent sightings other than the ones that you and your friends encountered along the eastern road to this location. The red demonic creatures that you saw that came, as far as you could tell, came through that portal.
Yeah.
Right. I have a question about the mirror.
Yes.
Right.
What have you been able to discover about it?
Well, it is definitely an item of the old world. I know that it has the capability of refracting a location that you choose to go to, and you can step through the mirror based on its other anchor point. The challenge I'm having is the mirror is more of a when than it is a where.
Timey-wimey stuff.
When and where? It's so that I was going to ask, has it got to do with anything of going back to a past time?
It's possible. Every time I look at it, study it, try to invoke it, I find myself in deep, private conversations with myself.
Wow.
So we can talk to ourselves in the past?
Well,
or...
I don't know if it's the past, present, or future is the problem.
Sure.
And yourself in the mirror can't tell you if it's the past, present, or future?
I don't
One
think it knows either.
One would think that if you don't remember having the conversation with yourself in the mirror, that person would then be future you.
Maybe. Or I'm that person's future them.
But you would remember talking to yourself in the mirror in the past.
If we're assuming we're on the same timeline.
So,
fair.
so you can't use it as a portal. You can't walk through it. You can just.
I suspect you
view
can, but I'm not quite sure how that works. There could be a connection with the remaining structures or items within the astrolab that you discovered that might be a part of this situation. There is also the concern of the remains of the skeleton that you found there.
Which looked like Lady Silverhand.
Correct.
Kai does not like the idea of walking through a mirror to be in the same timeline with another version of her own self. Doesn't that break every bit of the worlds?
Does it seem? Yes.
Is the other version of you a dick? Or, I mean, is he like nice like you?
He's definitely
Are you talking to Ghost Shaw?
Yeah, like you or
No. I'm saying, is he a dick, but not nice like you?
Well, I'm glad that you
like
think...
Ghost Shaw's not nice.
Yeah, I'm glad
Is that
you
what
think...
you mean?
I'm glad you think I'm
you're
nice.
not talking about Ghost Shaw. Oh, okay.
No, I was asking Bert. He's the one
Yeah.
that's talked to
I'm-
himself in the mirror.
I'm glad you think
Yeah.
I'm nice. That's a good step in the right direction. It would seem that the person that I was speaking with, which was myself,
Right.
is not aware of my situation. We spend a great deal of time discussing my situation, and it would seem that whatever timeline this particular vert is on, the Rift War never occurred.
Now,
What if just it's like an astral projection of your inner ego and you're just having a conversation with your current self, but you're just looking at it from a different perspective?
I
Or
actually
something like that. I don't know.
Oh my
thought about that,
gosh,
Belev. That's an
you're
incredible
smart.
insight.
what
What?
if it's not actually you and it's
What is?
someone that's just
Pretending to be you.
pretending to be you?
I thought about that as well. If they were pretending to be me and create this false projection and this false narrative to learn information, they were asking all the wrong questions.
Let me ask you something. My knowledge is limited with magic items, but it seems like there's a lot of items that are shifting planes and teleporting magics. You've used them. You've got an artifact that you use.
Yeah, that
This
we
chair, the mirror. There seems to be a lot of them.
Well, I mean, our focus has always been on powerful relics that we've been trying to discover. With your assistance in finding the old family vault in the ruins of Pym, we've recovered some from that, including the understanding of the old world map. I'm not going to, disparage this in any way, but you are correct. Which begs the question. If we find things that seems to involve arcane abilities of objects of a magic that's highly unstable, can we assume that somebody else has already figured out how to make these things work? We only were able to figure out how to make the refraction cube work by accident. We had multiple failures trying to get it to work. And there were consequences to those failures, but we still aren't sure it can work as well as we'd like it to. We merely get lucky for the most part.
Now, I'm going back to the mirror. What questions was the other you asking?
It was asking me things like what year it was, which, our timeline is post Rift Wars. So when I was trying to answer him, he didn't have any understanding of the Rift Wars. He didn't know who Silverhand was. I found fascinating. Whatever timeline that version of me, of Vert, is on, there's a different series of consequences and actions that have played out than what we're playing out here now. If it is astral projection, it could very well be time projection as well. I don't know. It's very strange. If, to Gulshah's point, if they were malicious and trying to gather information from me, it would seem they would ask more specific questions. Where am I located? How do I get there? What part of the land are you in? Where, what city are you in? And stuff like that.
Did you ask what year it was there?
Yes. It was the year 3426 FR.
What does the FR stand for?
Faerun.
Oh, okay.
Which I believe is where we are, according to the old maps.
Yeah.
According to Silverhand's understanding of the old world. So, if that astral lab contains the remains of Lady Silverhand, and that astral lab contained both this mirror and other lab equipment that could be possibly linked to this mirror, we also know this chair was recovered. We have the refraction cube that was recovered. All of these things require a great deal of arcane knowing and understanding. And to be perfectly honest, the only person that would have that level of knowledge would
Was
be
Max.
Well, no. Max derived his power through his relic item with a pact of himself. In other words, his pact, his understanding of his sorcerer's powers, were actually his hidden self, and that was the conduit of his magic. This I understood. This is why it was more stable, more prolific, not easy for us to understand, but easy for him to grasp and use. The fusion of his reliquary mask to the sentient creature known as the Guardian seemed to somehow close the loop of the kind of pact magic that he was using. Whatever Maximilian discovers is for him to discover. The real question that I kind of see forming here, the only person that truly understands how arcane magic used to work in the most absolute accordance to the laws of nature and the weave is Lord Silverhand. His version is the one that we pulled back from a time that it used to work. His version is the one that understood how it worked and would have prolific knowledge of arcane power and those that wielded it, and would have a good understanding of the weave. For the rest of us, it's finding old relics, trying to figure out in books and through histories and studies how the weave functions and where it's even possibly located for all we know. And with Golshah's mention of Mistra, we do know from our religious text that Mistra was a god that was prayed to, who was said to be able to be the guardian and the custodian of the weave, maintaining the balance of magic throughout the world.
Could these items be used to go back to an earlier time?
I don't believe
Stop the rift wars from even occurring?
I believe that's impossible to do, because I've tried it. When I was experimenting with the refraction cube, I attempted to go back and find a version of myself. I was unsuccessful. Nearly killed me. I don't think we can change our past. Our past is our past. I don't think we can affect our future other than by the behavior of what we do in the present. But here's the strange thing. If we know the mirror is an astral projection of possible time, we know the refraction cube allows you to pluck from a pre-existing time someone who already exists. And he stares over at the chair, without his voice, as he stares over at the chair. Well, what the fuck does this do then? What does this chair take a projected image or fracture of someone, bind them to the chair, and then force them to be anchored to it, and that they are used as a conduit of magic? Possible, I guess.
Or whoever set it up was bastardizing the chair's original use.
Yeah.
It could have been altered. That's very true.
Question.
Yes, for love.
Is anyone else hungry? Could we?
Oh yeah, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Yes, you've been gone for a bit. I imagine you
I
are
am
hungry.
famished.
Ghost's probably hungry too. I should bring him out.
Well, let's take a break.
Kind of seemed like
Feel
an
free
important
to-
conversation, but my tummy's grumbling. So
Well, let's take a moment. We've got all night to continue this conversation. I'm going to
Perhaps
go
Lord
and
Silverhand could help
gonna
us.
take all night.
I'm going to go
Man.
and converse with Tamlin on some of these findings and understandings. I'll get his opinion on it. And Lady Silverhand, I beg your forgiveness, but I'm not quite comfortable mentioning this to your lordship yet. Let's, how do they say, get all of our ducks in a row first. Because if the only thing that we could do is assume that something out there is expecting the celebration to occur, and insert itself into said celebration, well, the only wise thing would be normally to cancel it. However, that would tip our hands, so to speak. That would tip whoever who could possibly be lingering out in that crowd waiting for this opportunity to be aware that we now know something, and they will merely disappear, melt away.
So we use everyone as bait.
It's
And I
possible.
protect my father as much as possible by not telling him anything and staying by his side.
Well, I'm
You
not.
want us
I'm not
to-
suggesting we don't tell him anything. I'm saying that we come to a conclusion of sorts, and then make the decision.
Of what we tell him.
Yes, that feels a bit more
Okay.
accurate.
And I don't,
I like this
No.
guy's plan and use him as bait.
and I don't think we should use him as bait. I think
No.
we should use some magic to make it look like he's here. I think he should be very far away from here when the bridge
Oh,
is
this guy
open.
can't change his appearance. He's pointing at
Vert,
Not to
Or
look
Valev?
like Lord
Okay.
Silverhand. No.
Oh.
No, he can only change into animals.
well,
Not
kind
that
of a
that
thing
go,
majestic
go and
speed
grab a
that
meal. I am going to go
wasn't-
and discuss this with Tamlin. And you watch as Vert kind of exits out of the pavilion, leaving the five of you alone in the pavilion. That's a massive magical mansion, three-tiered with laboratory equipment everywhere. The corpse of a version of Silverhand, it would seem, lying on the table, the chair nearby. What would you guys
Yeah.
like to do?
He wants us to leave those here, or should we take them and put them in the box in our wagon?
He didn't say, he walked out.
Let's roll up cover the corpse.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That
there
way
be
it's not-
any would there be any good places to either hunt or find food?
There's food being prepared.
Ah.
You
Outside.
don't have to worry. We will feed you.
Eat too.
Lots of food.
Yeah, they do. They just give it to you on
Yeah.
a plate on like a flat circle thing.
Yeah, so we just have to go and
Here.
go to one of the kitchen.
I don't really get it
Spots.
either.
I don't know. I
But
tend
it's
to
good.
hunt my own food.
You are
Mm.
free.
And I
to
could
I
just
hope.
I can just
Mm.
make
Yeah.
food if you wanted. Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it?
Well, they're making
Yes.
food, so let's just go out and get some.
Let's just go eat. I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's
I'm
just go
finally
eat. There's
leaving
food
and
cooking
going to
outside.
eat.
As
Okay.
you're
Go outside.
talking, you already see him headed towards the food.
Okay. See, he knows what he wants.
So as all of you
Yeah.
exit out of the magical pavilion back into the central area where all the other pavilions are set up, including your own individual tents. In the very center, a series of very long tables are already set out. People are coming and going and grabbing plates of food and kind of moving off into private conversations. Lieutenants, officer cadres of the Crown's Guard. Vimac is still there, speaking with Tamlin and Vert. No sign of Lord Silverhand. He seems to have gone off someplace else, or he's currently not in the courtyard partaking of the food situation. But it's just that kind of lighthearted atmosphere of slipping into evening. People are kind of excited about the event for tomorrow. There's usually a patrol coming and going, changing of the guard. You can hear the busy activity of the camp, partially all the construction equipment being taken down while, partially hearing crowds of people just having conversations and laughter and bardic music kind of playing in the background. People either kind of like breaking off into small groups and, celebrating the fact that the construction is complete. The energy is definitely up.
Kai will
I-
take a plate of food to her father and engage in just like conversation that reveals only a little bit of what we discussed. She will keep certain things a secret.
Okay, so you head towards his pavilion with a plate of food. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm going to go to a open enough space and I'm going to let Ghost out. And then we are going to go and find food and go over to one of the butchers and get some of the, let him pick his food
Okay.
and then find my food.
Anybody else?
Currently stuffing my face.
You're just like at the table.
Yeah, I'll get food and see if I can get a short rest in afterwards.
Okay. Valev, what are you doing with your time?
Pretty
Gonna
jacked
get
up.
some food and then also kind of bored. All the grown-ups I'm talking about, like a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was gonna reach into my tan bag of tricks and pull out a little piece of fuzz and throw it. And in front of me on the ground appears a baboon.
And
Oh,
as
can
you
Ghost
throw the
eat
piece
it?
of fuzz and you watch as a baboon comes into existence.
Hey, you made a twin.
Just kind of sitting there staring at you.
I'm just gonna like take my food and go and like sit next to it and just kind of like cuddle up and start eating some and give him a bite and just like a kid with an ice cream cone and their dog next to them, just kind of like
Yeah.
sharing with the baboon.
Wow.
Oh,
Piece of
love
fruit
So Kai, you walk
across
in.
its forehead.
Got a red ass.
it.
Kai, you walk into the tent. Your father is in there with a couple of soldiers as well as some guards. His personal bodyguard is kind of on the inner perimeter of the tent. He looks up from the table that he's kind of hovering over, a series of maps and documents spread out on a massive plank of wood on top of two like makeshift sawhorses. He looks tired, but relieved to see you. Oh, good to see you. Please, come in. Ah,
Here,
is that?
Father, I know you haven't eaten.
Yes, I've been busy, but thank you. I appreciate that. He sets it down and watches you stare at him. And he goes, "Yes, of course." And he starts to take a couple pieces of the roast beef and cheeses and begins to nibble and munch on them. And he's suddenly hungry, and he's like, almost like he remembered the taste of food as he begins to kind of like eat. So, what did you and your friends find out on your little journey to the Blackwood?
So many disturbing things. We are going to have your back. So please just trust in us when we don't tell you everything.
My back.
Yes, you might be in danger.
Based on what, dear?
Just some things that we've found. I'm more concerned that I shouldn't tell you.
You're more concerned that you shouldn't tell me what? I can read it on your face, dear.
I know, Father. It's a part of you.
A part of me. It has to do with the fact that he stops and he looks around. Gentlemen, if you would please excuse us. And you watch as the handful of people he's talking to get up and leave. Everybody, please excuse us. And you watch as his personal bodyguard kind of disappear out of the sides of the pavilion. Just the two of you. He's holding the plate of food in one hand and staring at you with concern on his face. So, does this have to do with what I am or where I'm from?
I think a little bit of both.
Please, let's sit and discuss this. And he goes over to a series of like oversized chairs. He sits down in one, kind of like beckons you to sit down in the other one.
She's probably going to spill her guts about everything they just said not to tell him.
So, I realize what
Sorry.
Vert and Tamlin have done is essentially created a lie. And this
Yes.
lie is me, and I understand this. I've agreed to it. I'm complicit in it. Whatever Arena has done to keep me healthy and safe and do what I can to save this world, or, one city at a time, one town at a time, one community at a time, I'm obligated. I feel obligated to do it. I know this has been much harder on you than it's been on me.
Oh, don't worry about me, Father. I have so many friends that are aligned with you, and we want to help.
Well, I could appreciate that, but coming under the realization that there were different versions of me before now that you thought were me must be a little bit difficult to kind of organize in your head.
It's been a problem during battles, not being able to attack those that look like you.
And I would also imagine it's getting difficult to understand what and who you are.
Yes, this is true also.
I mean, we don't run across many tieflings anymore, do we?
No, we don't.
So, you could possibly be the last person of your lineage. Different versions of your adopted parents have come in and out of existence without your knowledge. And essentially, Vert and Tamlin have created this lie in an effort to bring people together.
But you have been my father in whatever version you were for my whole life that I can recall. You know I am devoted to you.
And I can appreciate that. But I would be empathetic and understanding if these things created frustrations for you. I mean, thank gods for your friends.
Definitely. If I did not have them, I don't know what I would be doing right now.
And do you still have little Dax with you?
Yes, I do. He's so brave. He even stood up and took a position to help us discover some information.
Well, your mother was very fond of Dax. A little bit of her is definitely in him.
Yes, he is very, very helpful and very intuitive.
So, is there anything else you need to tell me before I finish my meal, call everyone back, and begin to plan tomorrow's festivities?
No, just that I love you, Father, and thank you for everything.
I love you too, dear. Thank you. And be sure to remind your friends to thank them as well. They have
I will.
Done wonders here. Wonders. He kind of gets up, stretches, finishes the last of his plate, sets it on a table nearby, calls for the other individuals to come back in. They come back in, the bodyguards come back in, and he quickly goes back to studying maps and documents, having conversations with different individuals, going back to his busy evening. Valev,
Use herself.
Okay. Valev, the baboon, is currently at the main table, stuffing its mouth with rolls and fruits and other things off the buffet table that's been set up for everybody. Comes walking over to you, and it into its hands and offers it up to you.
Thank you.
And puts regurgitated food in your hand.
Aww.
You have to eat it, or
The melons are
it's a
good.
faux pas.
Kind of slaps its own head and goes back over to the table. And then it leaps up onto the table and starts scooping more food into its mouth. Apollo's right there. Gulshaw, where'd you wander off? Did you wander off?
I ate. I'm gonna catch a short rest.
That's right. You wandered off to go take a short rest. Arena, are you there as well?
I am there with Ghost, yes.
Okay. So you guys are kind of lingering there, and you watch as a very tall, heavily tattooed Goliath comes over to the table and begins to pick at some of the food on the table. Looks at Apollo, looks at Valev, looks at the creature on the table scooping up food, looks at Arena and the direwolf. You are an interesting lot. to say the least. I certainly hope that Apollo, well, does well by you.
I always will.
Thanks.
So, curious. Where is that individual that goes by the name Gulshaw? Is he about?
I think he's meditating.
Well,
He's taking a nap.
if you see
He
him,
was tired.
if you see him, I would much like to have a conversation with him, but that's fine. I can be found over at the bridge. I will be changing shifts with the guard there. But hey, good luck, Apollo. Been wonders working with you. The firebrand will always have a space for you, but serving the Silverhands will do you well. For the rest of you, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for this. It's been a long few years, to say the least. It's been hard, and it's been difficult. The people are definitely looking forward to tomorrow. Without all of you helping, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
And he kind of steps away, nods at all of you, and disappears out the main kind of series of tents that leads out of this main pavilion cordon. Gulshaw, you're off taking your short rest. What are you doing during your short rest at this point?
I meditate, commune with the gods, and try to take a short rest to heal up a little bit.
Okay. During this meditation, go ahead and give me a charisma save, please.
$32.
32. Holy shit.
Holy shit, yeah.
As you,
I'm good at charisma saves.
as you drift off into deep meditation, you're inside your pavilion that's been set up. The front flaps have been shut, and it's just you on your kind of like inverted kneeling position with your hammer kind of directly in front of you. And without even realizing it, the air around you begins to shift in kind of like a shadowy kind of miasma of energy. This energy kind of pulses up and around and through and around you. And you get the feeling that there are three distinct presence here. You feel the familiar presence of the Raven Queen.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the familiar presence of Bane. But there is a new presence here.
Mm-hmm.
And this new presence makes itself known through a weird kind of like black and gold mask that is kind of floating in front of you. And as it floats in front of you, there's like an arcane texture of energy that kind of pulses around you. And for the first time, you kind of feel like all three of the entities now have made themselves known. This feels like the presence of Mystra as well. From Mystra, you get a sense of hope. From Bane, you get a sense of desperation. And from the Raven Queen, you get a sense of concern. And then as this commune and this meditation fades around you, all of this feels like a choice has to be made. And that choice is beginning to kind of create these kind of feelings, both in yourself and about your friends, as well as the understanding that this world is changing fast. There's things happening at a pace that begins to feel purposeful, driven, just a hair shy of frantic, but not uncontrolled. And then once again, that understanding, that vision, that feeling about a place called the Oshram Temple, an old ruin of an old time long forgotten, kind of just creeps into your psyche for just a moment. You can hear others outside enjoying the meal. You can hear talk. You hear music. You can hear activity of life. Life is around you. Life is everywhere. Life, for the first time in hundreds of years, has a chance. Question is, what is this chance? What is the concern? What is the, what is the sense of hope? What is the sense of, desperation? Why are these feelings and these emotions kind of colliding all at the same time? Choices, just echoing in through your mind.
And the temple, is it on the other side of the bridge?
It is believed to be deep up in the Worn-Tooth mountain range, not too far from the volcano. Now, in the recovered map of the vault, the Worn-Tooth mountain range was known as Snowflake Mountains.
Right.
But currently, it's described as the Worn-Tooth mountain range near the lake. In fact, here I can switch that really quick so we can go back to that real quick.
Apollo is currently fighting off the baboon for his food.
The half-eaten food.
Hey,
Right.
Balev, give me a persuasion check for the magical baboon.
Perhaps animal handling?
Sure, I'm okay with that. Go with animal handling.
25.
25. It immediately abandons the struggle with Apollo. Comes kind of, crawling and making its way over towards you, Volev. And it immediately gets alongside you and starts, grooming your clothes and grooming your hair. Reaches in and
Finally.
Pulls
That's
out-
okay. I come up with my lavender spray.
So it's turning from early evening into late evening at this point. Everybody has consumed their meal. People are coming and going. The activity of the encampment is still very active. What would you all like to do with the rest of your evening at this point?
My usual elixirs.
Okay.
It's not bedtime yet, right?
That's up to
So
you
early
guys. I
evening?
only describe it as late evening at this point. It's going from early evening to the beginnings of late evening.
So like 10 o'clock?
Well,
Have
according
I-
to the time
Are
of
you on
the
my
session, we have just about enough time for a serious encounter left. So if we go to sleep now, we might be able to get a long rest in before
Before our
Jason
next
tries to kill us.
Yeah.
All right.
Or he's
That's
going to
out of
interrupt
character.
or he's going to interrupt our long rest and we're
Um,
going to have to fight whatever we are fighting.
I think he's going to interrupt our long rest.
Now, did I get my short rest in on, and you're asking me to, or am I just still in my short rest?
I'd say you can go ahead and do your short rest now if you want.
Okay. But are you asking me what I'm doing the rest of my evening after my
Yes.
short rest, or is that part of
Yes,
my...
correct. After your short rest.
I'm going to go find Gulsha
Okay.
and tell him that that tall, behemoth-looking guy was looking for him.
Okay.
Because I cannot remember his name.
Goliath.
Goliath-looking guy. Sorry. Goliath, behemoth. I was close. There was an eth in there.
Same difference. Yes.
Behemoths look like Goliaths.
So I'm gonna tell. Go find Gulsha. With Ghost.
Okay.
Looking for him in his tent.
And you wander in that direction. You open
Yeah.
up. You kind of standing out front of the tent.
Knock knock. Oh, sorry.
Let's go.
Ghost.
No. Yes.
Hey, it's Arena.
I'll
Can I
open
come
the
in?
tent up. Oh, hello, Rena. Come in.
That Goliath guy was looking for you. I can't remember his name.
Vi-
Oh, yes.
Vimac.
Vimac. Vimac was
Yes.
looking for you. Yes.
All right. Where will he be? Where he is at? Where is he?
He's pretty easy to spot if you go outside. He's really tall. Although
Okay.
I might have to stand on your shoulders to see him. I see a lot of belly buttons.
Jason, why did you roll 3d10?
Actually, Ivar did.
Oh, okay.
That was
It
my
said
my
at
hit.
storyteller admin. I was like, oh no,
No.
oh no.
26
Okay, I rolled those.
demons attack us.
I rolled those
Right?
3d10 for you, Jason.
I'm like, that's how many are coming. Watch.
13.
Yeah, I'll go look for Vimac.
I will help him look for Vimac. But I will help him look for Vimac on the back of Ghost rather
Okay.
than
While
belly button height.
Yeah, while the two of you are doing that, Kai, you're working on your elixirs in your pavilion.
Yep.
What are you trying to make? Anything out of the ordinary or just the usual?
If I could make a healing potion, would be working towards doing that.
All right, give me a wisdom check.
Of course, wisdom. Me too.
You know, Valev, you still owe me a backstory, don't you?
Yeah, my wisdom is not high. I got a 4.
Oh no.
You have to be careful if you don't give him a backstory. If you don't, he'll make one up for you, and that's
Yes,
dangerous.
I will.
It is. You
Very dangerous.
You might end up a murderer.
I think the last time we
Just
talked
saying.
was
I
the
can't do a medicine check or something more like that.
start with a wisdom check first, please.
I got a 4.
A 4. Now give me a intelligence check with disadvantage.
Oh, with it disadvantage. I see how this works.
I think, Valev, we discussed the mentor.
I already
And that was the
know.
only part I needed you to come up with, was the name of the clan, the name of the mentor, and I was going to bake that into an arc. So when you get a chance,
Okay.
that would be helpful. That's the only part I don't want to make up, because you were very kind of like center focused on that part of the creativity.
Yeah, no, 9.
9.
So
You're
only
struggling with the
come up
for
with my regular.
yeah,
stuff,
you're struggling with the formula. You're trying to understand the formula, and you just can't focus, whether it's the recent information about Silverhand or the
Too
conversation.
distracting.
Yeah, and you begin to work on your normal elixirs, your normal infusions. So you're free to create at least 1 or 2 of those if you want to.
Yeah, at least I crit on those rolls because I rolled my actual dice for those. Beyond hates me today, by the way.
Beyond hates everybody. It's not about you, I can assure you.
Okay, good. Because
hates
I
everyone
crit and got a
equally.
5, so I'll figure out which ones those are.
So Kai, you have gone off to the pavilion. Valev, you are currently getting groomed by your magical baboon, which you're free to. I don't know how long that lasts.
Until dawn.
Yeah, okay, he puffs out of existence. Gulshan and Arena have wandered off to look for Vimac. You and Apollo are the only two in the center section currently. What would you like to do with your time, Valev?
Not much, honestly. Just probably just laying out under the stars if there are any out tonight.
Fair enough. So you want to go ahead and prep for your long rest?
Yeah.
Okay. Apollo, you watch as Valev just kind of disappears. Now you do have a pavilion, or you can go out in the wilds. It's up to you.
Oh, the wild's good.
Okay. Leaving
I'll just
you.
cuddle up with the baboon until morning.
What would you like to do, Apollo? You're pretty much the only one there, with the exception of a handful of guards and others that either drift into the table to pick up a little bit of food and then drift away.
I'm gonna kind of like get a workout in,
Okay.
and
That's so
like run-
Tusk. So Tusk.
always. And this guy, he's kind of just run around and scout the area around.
Okay. Before you settle into your long rest, do you want to sleep in the wilds or sleep in the tent?
Sleeping in the wilds.
Okay, fair enough. So for you, Apollo, go ahead and give me a nature check or survival check, please.
All right.
Valev, you drift off into your long rest as you find a nice kind of like tree-like canopy that you can climb up into, and you're like in the branches.
Perfect.
18. Be sure to mute me, Tusk. I'm getting feedback on yours. So you begin to wander off into the perimeter of the construction site. You kind of drift in and out of some of the tree lines, and Apollo, you're beginning to kind of like just kind of take a look about. Kai, you're busy with your elixirs. Valev, you drift off to a sleep, a calm. Gulshaw and Arena, you make your way to the Maw Bridge, where Vimac had stated he was going to be. He's currently leaning up against a very tall piece of posted wood. A familiar Aarakocra is there as well, the one that had introduced you to the captured supplies of the things now called rifles and pistols, and some of the information regarding the slaver wagon that they had captured themselves, that had been operating in the area. The two of them seem to be having a conversation about something, laughing. Guards are walking by. There's a cadre and a cordoned off section in the very middle portion of the bridge where Crown's guards are currently keeping people on the other side. There's a series of guards on the other side as well. Firebrand mercenaries are kind of walking about between the two different sides. The two of you approach the Aarakocra and the Goliath. Vimac looks over to see Gulshaw. Gulshaw, good to see you.
Good to see you. I heard you want to speak to me.
Yeah, I have some thoughts. I kind of wanted to bounce them off you and see what you thought.
Okay.
Did I tell you guys the name of the Aarakocra? I don't remember.
I believe it was Birdbrain.
Why do I
Rove. Rove. R-O-V-E.
Yes, there it is right there. Okay. For some reason, none of my highlights saved. Very strange.
Rove, Birdbrain. I mean...
You know what?
Yeah.
Birdbrain sounds about right.
You birdist.
Yes.
Vimac looks at you and goes, we've,
She plays cat, so.
me and
Not in this game.
Me and Rove have been discussing plans for after the bridge is opened. It would seem that you and your friends have a place in the main city of Whist. Is this correct?
Yes.
And from what I understand, from what Rove has told me in his conversations with, do not get me involved in this. This is your idea, Vimac. Yeah, but anyway, never mind him. He's skittish at times. I also understand that you're taking possession of a community known as Traverton.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the west.
Me and mine
South.
plan on concluding our contract with Lord Silverhand once this bridge is complete, which after tomorrow, our contract is concluded. I was wondering, would you and your friends like to strike up a new contract with us? And, well, we could barrack Traverton for you. My understanding is you have yet to visit there and manage the location yet. My understanding is you're to be regents. Yes, Vimac, I told you there's going to be regents there.
Yeah.
Well, and you can tell he's very awkward. His whole he's not used to being in this position. He's used to just being, someone who just serves. He just serves. This is what his comfort zone is. And after tomorrow, he's got no contract. He's got at least 20 men to take care of, men and women. And he doesn't really have any potential plans because he also seems to be quite aware, as he explains, there will definitely be no shortage of labor. There's thousands on the other side of this chasm.
Yeah.
And the only semblance of order and control seems to be this immediate area.
Well, there is a current regent down there right now where we would be. He gave us the town like we own the town. So we still there is a current regent. But we do need to set up infrastructure because he wants to shift like 2,000 people down there.
Well,
So, yes.
I would imagine housing's going to become very scarce. People will get
Yes.
nervous and people will become desperate.
Unruly.
Well, I'm glad you said it, not me.
Do you want to continue to be mercenaries, or do you want a more permanent position?
I don't know. What does a more permanent position look like? I mean, I wouldn't mind getting married to you, Gulshaw, but a little forward.
He is pretty.
Oh,
That's
his
funny.
armor is gorgeous.
That's funny. But that's not exactly what you know. What
I
mean.
know. I mean, do you want us to be? I don't know. We've been the Firebrand mercenaries for so long. I don't know if we're capable of anything else.
But we just
No,
need to
you'll-
make sure that we don't bully the people that don't need to be bullied. We don't want to send bullies down there. Not that you guys are bullies. I'm just saying.
Oh, I
We wanna
can
make sure
assure
that
you,
people
I have
down there aren't bullies.
I can assure you, I have a couple bullies on my cadre.
There's some people that do need to be bullied, but we'll talk about those at a later time.
Well, Shaw's armor would look great at the foot of his bed.
Yeah, my head in it.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if he's going to be working for us. Out
Well,
of character. Okay.
I would
So,
we could hire you to escort the people down to Traverton, help with some semblance of order down there. But when people talk of mercenaries take pay, and usually they'll take the highest pay. I've even seen them change sides during a battle. So,
Well, most of that is out there, Gulshaw, but I can respect that opinion.
now I don't mean it against you personally, obviously, but
It's an honest
You know,
opinion, and
you
I
need-
could respect that.
you're coming into a place where there's a semblance of order. There's civilization. There's things to buy, things to sell, things to make, and it's not like it is out there. And we need people that we can rely on, we can trust with our lives.
Give me persuasion with advantage, Gulshaw, since you and Arena are doing a pretty good job of having this conversation with Vimac.
Persuasion.
that would be your charisma. I'm so glad I'm not making the roll.
24.
Okay. Well, if a name change is required, we could certainly be Firebrand Mercantile. We could be Firebrand something. We do have a adherence to our name as a unit. We have fought and died together. I'd be slightly ashamed to give that up, but I
We do
understand.
Firebrand Armory.
Oh, I like that. That's kind of fucking cool.
Yeah.
We could
Yes,
s-
keep the
we could-
firebrand and come up with something that you like. If that's what you like. That's
So, on that note, since I'm off contract as of tomorrow, and you do hire us, our contract rate for the unit for 30
Oh, yeah,
days
write that down.
You
is
manage your money.
250 gold a month.
250 a month.
Now, that goes down if it includes housing, or we could take care of that ourselves. That's 20 fighting men and women at your beck and call, a master sergeant, and myself, Vimac.
You said 25 men?
20 fighting men
20
or
men?
or women.
well. First of all, I will pay you 300 gold.
Oh, well, that I appreciate.
We will supply you with barracks, arms, weapons, horses, mounts, to make you the most effective fighting force in Whist.
So
And
on
be at
that
our
note, Gulshaw, I will see to it that whatever individuals are destined to be refugees in Traverton are, how we say, the choice ones. The ones that will provide the kind of social assistance that we're going to need down there. Is this agreeable?
Laborers. Yes, it is.
Good. I will have my sergeant bring you a contract tomorrow. I will have signed it, but I'm going to go and make plans and preparations and let my men and women know of the accord that's been made here. Can I borrow a copy of your maps to have my scribes make copies so that me and mine know where to go?
Yeah, and we'll have to send you down with a note for the regent.
Yes.
A letter of introduction would definitely be cordial, to say the least.
Yeah.
Let me check my inventory real quick.
I love how this Goliath is so much more well-mannered and well-spoken than Valev will ever be.
I was just thinking
a
that
letter of introduction would be quite fancy and very...
Well, you know, and it's kind of forced, right? Vimac is like...
How much gold do you have?
I mean, if you had made an insight check on Vimac,
100?
you would have probably picked up on the
Yeah,
fact
do you have 100 on you?
that the
Yeah, I
you
have
know that
100
the
gold.
Aarakocra was kind of
All right.
guiding him
I'll
on
borrow
how to
it.
behave
Take it out of
with
our
these
stuff.
individuals.
I hand, and for my part, Vimac, here's 300 gold in advance.
Oh,
So you and your troops will know that I speak the truth, and I will.
he kind of takes the
Back you
medium
with my
size.
life,
Yeah, he
if
takes the
possible.
medium sized bag from you, ties it to his belt. Well, it would appear the rumors about the mercantile chimera are quite true. I can assure you, if anybody tries to get to you, it's because I'm a corpse. You have my faith and you have my blood, and those of my men and women. Next time we speak, well, there'll be a full presentation of the Firebrand Armory Garrison in Traverton, and we will see to it the 2,000 that are destined for Traverton are the ones that are best suited for those of the Chimera. And he just quickly bows and turns and heads back towards the other side of the Maw Bridge. The Aarakocra just looks at him and back at the two of you, looks at him. Are there any other job openings? I am quite done up here.
How would you like to be a scout?
Oh, I think I'm quite good at that. I have what they call a bird's eye view.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You're hired. How much would you like a month?
Well, I mean, I could simply insert myself in with Vimac's people, if you so choose. I'm sure he would be agreeable to that. We are, how they say, friends.
Oh, good. Then insert yourself. And if there's any more of your kind that would like to join, it would be nice to have a troop of you. Doing things alone sometimes is, dangerous.
I suddenly have the image of the old Flash Gordon. Hawkman, dive!
Right? Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Here's a mace of destruction. Here, so you can look like him.
It's hard to believe that's Treebeard.
Yeah, true. Yeah. All right. This is awesome. I want a bunch of men with sick on people. I can't wait.
You watch as the very excited Aarakocra kind of coils up the last of the rope, sets it down, and goes sprinting. And he jumps onto the back of Vimac and kind of ruffles up on Vimac's bald head. And the two of them kind of exchange a brief kind of moment that may be more than friendship. And the two of them kind of move quickly across the bridge. You watch as he's waving at a couple of his other soldiers. They begin to have a conversation, and they're just disappear into the crowd on the other side.
Okay. When do they attack? You just gave the enemy 300 gold, you fool! No, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, I really hope it's not the enemy.
Your paranoia is not my paranoia. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never done anything like that ever.
Never.
Arena,
No.
I'm gonna look at Gulshaw and I'm gonna say I gotta go write a letter of introduction to the Traverton Regent. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And include in that our letter of introduction because we haven't been down there yet.
I wonder if any of you can even remember the name of that regent that is down
Hold
there.
on.
I can.
Hold
Let
on.
me look.
Hold on. His name is Biro Vandergus.
You are so
You're
good.
good, girl. Okay.
You
Thank you.
rock.
I mean, it would take me 5 or 6 minutes to find it, but I could have done it somewhere. Cool,
Nope,
man.
I can't.
So we have the Firebrand Armory.
So,
Been too concerned with my father.
and
Speaking
Yeah,
of armory,
so-
when is that one gonna be fixed? Because I still want my freaking dragon shields.
the
Like,
smithy, they're rebuilding it.
Oh,
They're
as we
rebuilding
speak.
it. But it'll
I
probably be
know,
done
but
by the
how
time we
long?
get there.
And a
I have
D6
no
of
concept of actual
inspiration.
time.
A D6 of inspiration who can tell me the name of the gnome forge master.
Oh, hold on.
Whoa.
Hold on. Wait.
Oh,
I'm gonna get
The
it.
one that we
I
say.
get it.
Yeah.
Dumble Duck LaFool.
The name of the Forge Master.
Blackthorn Stumble Duck LaFool.
Nope.
Darn. What? That's
Hey,
what I
I
have.
won.
Blackthorn. I'm sorry. Orin Stumble Duck LaFool.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down.
That's the
New
wrong
Smithy?
answer.
No.
The name
is-
of the what's called? What do you say?
The master
one
smith that
that's-
you rescued from the Traverton abduction of the slavers, the western region.
I hate it when he changes his names.
I
Yeah,
didn't change it.
I'm
I've got it
finding it.
written right here.
No, I got it.
His
I'll find it. Hang on
name.
a second.
Okay.
I'm looking.
We have a D6 of inspiration on the line here, people.
I know, we're going for it.
This obviously means that Jason is going to try and kill us in the next 30 minutes. We need to be able to use this.
So much
I said it
paranoia.
the first time. I said it the first time.
What'd you
What did you
say?
I
say?
said it the second. But
Yeah.
the specific words of what you said.
About him
So-
getting ready to kill us.
Said if you say this and then da. So I said that and got the inspiration.
Got it.
Yeah, okay.
It is
Yeah, I know.
Blackthorn Snarletooth.
See, you keep changing the name.
No, it's highlighted. The prisoner
remember
that
that at
he's
all.
rescued. Right there on my OneNote.
Is that what his
Yeah.
name was? Because he did keep changing it, didn't he?
He did keep changing it, yes.
They've got you. I was kidding.
So,
I'd have to look at this.
Now, you guys might be thinking of the original one that died.
That was Lundar. That wasn't.
Yeah,
You
that was
know.
Lundar
Lundar.
the dwarf, the hill
No.
dwarf.
No, you first told us Orin Stumbleduck LaFool, the new smithy gnome, and then I have Blackthorn after that, but you didn't tell us the last name.
I'll go with Blackthorn. So, Arena, you get a D6.
Okay.
I'm good
I was
with
gonna
that.
say,
So at least one of you
really,
got the
really
D6
did
out of it.
take some good
Blackthorn.
damn. Yeah.
I am totally erasing the Orin Stumbleduck LaFool. I have no idea whose name you have that in there as now, but I'm erasing it from my notes. And now it's just Blackthorn Snarletooth, and that's going to be canon.
No,
and don't
that's
change
it.
it again.
Look. I have it written down.
What?
It says, new smith coming up from Traverton, Orin Stumbleduck LaFool.
It's not just me. I told you.
Yeah,
you
but I'm
changed the name.
pretty sure you guys wrote down something I was making fun of because I had referenced Ori's name from the other game
No.
because gnomes
That's-
have very
That's what you
long
told us
names.
his name was. That's what you
But
told
that
us his
still
name was.
counts. Even if you're making fun
I
of
had
them,
both.
that still counts.
Jokes count.
The fool, I'm afraid I've been thinking. A dangerous
I want
pastime,
a
I
D6
know.
inspiration or I'm going to die. Hold my breath. Okay, never
So,
mind. All right.
is everybody
Jokes
heading in
count.
for their long rest at this point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in it, baby.
Yeah.
I
Sprawled up
brought
in the
an
tree, just-
army.
Yay, we
I
have
got a lot of what it
mercenaries.
takes
So-
to get along.
Before
do we
we
have
before we
mercenaries?
click off our long rest, Valev, what's your passive perception?
Oh no.
16.
We're all going to die. Say it, Irene.
That's why I was staying
Probably.
in a tree. Hopefully, if something happens, I'll wake up quickly and be able to alert everyone.
Yeah. So Valev,
Yeah.
you drifted out of sleep, and then
Strategy.
you
Thought.
pick up the sounds of footsteps at the base of your tree.
I will look down.
As you look down, a familiar face is looking up at you.
Is it Scorch?
It's Scorch.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Scorch, buddy.
Valev, it's good to see you. Please.
I probably try and get out of the tree a little too excitedly and might
Fall.
possibly slip and fall. Yeah.
Give me acrobatics. I rolled a dex save to see if he catches you in case.
Okay. 13, 17.
17, you slip and fall. You kind of, in your excitement, you roll over, and as you kind of, your foot catches on one of the tree branches, and it causes you to kind of slightly tumble out of the tree. And Scorch like kind of grabs onto you, knowing that you're more childlike in weight and size, and he doesn't want to like purposely crush every bone in your body, and
That's nice.
sets you down on the ground, and it kind of pats you awkwardly. Are you okay?
I give him a big hug.
It's good to see you, Valev.
Where have you been? How have you been?
Well, how do I describe this?
With words.
Yeah, the right words. The right words are important here.
You could show me, like the
That's right.
yeah, I don't know that thing.
I actually think showing you would be important, but that kind of visual is probably not going to work for this. And you watch as he steps out into the slight opening. You watch as he begins to transform back into his massive reddish black, kind of lacquered like visage, his massive feline head coiling and coming down. Please, Valev, on my back. I need to show you what I found.
Okay, is it far?
Well, if we walked, it certainly would be, but you feel his wings. We're not walking. And
Okay.
he leaps up into the air, and you're kind of like holding on to the back, like hairy-like mane that's draping down the back side of his neck and into the sitting position that you're in, and you're like holding on. The wind is like tearing, screaming past your ears. His massive head coiled. It is good to see you again, Valev, but unfortunately what I have to show you may change things. And he banks up and high, rides the thermals, and in about an hour, you look down. You've already crossed over to the eastern side of the chasm. You're crossing over to the area that all the refugees are kind of aggregated and collected in, and then he banks sharp north along the chasm's edge. And as he banks along the chasm's edge for the next 20 or 30 minutes, you realize that he's kind of turned back again, and he's coming down on the opposite side of the northern plains. He's coming down on the massive forest that is kind of like splayed out all on that opposite side of the chasm. You were on the eastern side, but now you're back on the western side again. And the chasm from this position is massive. You could see why they've built the bridge at that most narrow point. But where you are now, the chasm is like, in some spots, almost a quarter mile across. And it just continues north even after he pivots away from it and is now heading towards the Frost Lake forested area, an area that you're not overly familiar with it, but you guys are kind of having this conversation during the flight. And as he hovers over a section of the forest, he begins to bank and turn and bank, and then crashes through the canopy of trees, and the trees just splinter and tear and creates almost like this little landing section for him to, and he lands, and he like patiently puts his neck down to let you kind of slide off, and then he's back into his more familiar elfin form with the narrow mustache and narrow almond features, and wearing the very simple blacks and red garments that he often wore. And he kind of like, now, I don't know what this place means, don't know if I completely understand it. You know how we talked about my memory?
Yeah.
I feel like I should know what this place is, but because I was brought back different than I was supposed to be brought back, I lost the ability to know this place, I think. With that in
Look
mind,
around.
yeah,
What do we see?
yeah, looking around, you can tell that this area that you're in is there's a strange kind of like darkness here, cold. Spring is well underway, shouldn't be this cold. Standing there as the two of you walk this footpath that seems to have appeared out of nowhere, almost as if when he destroyed this series of trees and bramble to create this landing spot, it allowed this footpath to come into existence. And as he walks, gets colder and colder, to the point where the two of you begin to be able to see your breath in front of you. And as you step out of the edge of a tree line, he kind of holds his hand in front of you, like kind of like childlike, catching you, stopping you short before you take too many steps. And you're at the edge of a very large crater, a massive crater. And it's so dark here, you watch as Cinder sets up a series of globes and lights that just kind of magically come into existence and drift over this massive crater. And you could feel this cold emptiness coming up and out of this crater. You can see where the edges of the crater are folded over. Great boulders are pushed aside. One of my concerns is that. And he points, and nearby is a massive handprint. The width of a hand that seems to be maybe 100 feet wide, fingers that are 10, 15 feet long, just this massive handprint, almost like something has pulled itself out of this crater. These signs are recent, Valev, within the last month or so for sure. I think even before we began to know each other, if my sense of time is understood.
And I go ahead and start looking at the ground and do a survival check to see the state of the tracks of the handprint and see if I would know anything of. It might be two things. It might be a history check or combined with a survival check to see if I would know what could possibly, even in lore, what could be big enough to make this type of.
Yeah, go ahead and give
print.
me. Go ahead and give me survival check first.
Okay.
As you take in the physical surroundings that Scorch has brought you to. And he's kind of meandering around, kicking at rocks and kind of looking at things as well.
25.
And there goes Tusk, falling asleep.
Oh, no. No, he's not.
What'd you get?
Wakey, Tusk.
What'd you
25.
get? 25. As you look at the handprint and the edge of the dirt, Scorch is right. This was within the last couple months. This is definitely a handprint of something that was literally maybe pushing itself out of this massive cratered space. Go ahead and give me history check with advantage. 10. The only memory you have of a conversation of anything that could possibly match scale, size, and possible to this. Your mentor often told stories of creatures that once wandered the earth called Titans. Massive, sentient, disembodied creatures, extensions of godlike behavior that were always combative with the gods and with each other, always seeking to ascend or transcend into otherworldly existence. And But that seems crazy. Those things don't exist. They haven't existed ever. It's always just fiction and lore. But as you and Scorch.
So we're dragons.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He's not a Hydra.
Yeah. As you and Scorch stand there kind of pondering this, what are your thoughts, Valev? I see a sense of knowing in your eyes.
I mean, I've never seen anything this big before.
I mean, it even makes me look small.
I wasn't gonna say that. You're one of the biggest things that I've ever known.
Well, that's agreeable, for sure.
But this... It kind of looks like it would be at the size of a titan.
What is a titan? Educate me.
I don't know. Well, it's a very big creature. Creature? It's a very big entity. I've heard that. I think that's the word. I've heard Arena use it, and Gulshaw has said it before too. It's a big thing. It tries to kill the gods sometimes and like become a god. I don't know. I've only heard stories. I've never seen it. I don't even know if it's real.
Well, I could tell you
But-
this thing. This crater is a mile square. It's massive.
That's big.
Yeah, it's
But
very
where would it
big.
have fallen from? Like what? Like
Well, I'm not
there's
sure.
not a mountaintop around here, is there? That it could have like, or the clouds?
Well, perhaps we should discuss the possibility of where it crawled out of.
But don't craters come from when things hit the ground?
Or when things crawl out of the ground that are very large and leave a crater behind. I would imagine
Happens?
if something fell from the sky, somebody would have noticed something. A comet,
Yeah.
the tendrils of fire that this would induce. But that's a
Yeah.
good point. Maybe I'm looking at this incorrectly. Maybe something did fall from the sky. Maybe whatever this is.
What about cloud giants? How big are they?
I don't know. I've
Like-
never met one.
I haven't either.
Are they real?
I don't know. That's just another one of the stories that I've heard.
Interesting.
I heard there's some like magic beans that can help you see them. Or maybe mushrooms. I'm not sure.
Well, I know of some
One of the
mushrooms that'll
two.
help you see just about anything.
Yeah.
It's called microdosing, Valev.
Anything and everything.
Tell me more about this. What is microdosing? This sounds interesting.
You watch a
I normally
Scourge,
like my
or
mushrooms
Scorch
on
is
my
like
pizza.
Scorch is like popping something in his mouth. Micro what?
Oh, the toadstools.
Why do I see that
So-
Rick and Morty episode right now?
So, one thing we know for certain, something large has entered the field some time ago, 2 months ago, and has not been seen by anyone since.
How could
Fair.
something this big not be seen?
Well,
Oh, I guess you're really big and you can just change how you look to
yeah.
look. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I guess magic is always kind of like.
I
the
can
answer.
even, and he snaps his fingers and he turns into like a small little red blackish squirrel, its tail kind of puffing around. And you watch as he kind of makes a little chittering noise, and then his voice is kind of smaller now. He goes, I can make myself look like this if I want to. And then there's a poof as he turns himself into like a very thin waif of a man with long, stringy blonde hair, wearing simple attire. Oh, I could turn myself into this.
You've been working on your magic.
Turns back into his elven form. Yes, I've been working on my magic. The revelations keep pouring in, Valev.
Well, if you ever want to teach me some tricks,
That's agreeable.
I don't know how it works.
Do
But
we tell anyone about this?
oh yeah, we should definitely tell
Well, on that note.
somebody.
Yeah, but on that note, Is something of this scale likely to induce panic? Or
Oh, definitely.
okay, so perhaps maybe we shouldn't say anything.
Well, I mean,
More
there's kind of a lot
familiar
on
with this
everybody's
stuff.
plate right now.
I just don't believe that panic is going to go over well for the bridge ceremonies.
Oh, yeah, see, so that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
We're really kind of expecting something really bad to happen tomorrow, but we're not really sure what. So
It
we're kind of
is-
just waiting to see how tomorrow goes.
It is absolutely
This might be the bad thing that happens. I don't know.
It's hysterical watching Tusk try to stay awake. It's very very inspiring. Well,
I think he's Eastern Coast. So.
Always.
so
No.
maybe we shouldn't immediately say anything about this. Can we follow
What if we don't say something about it and then like it shows up tomorrow at the bridge thing and
Well-
it destroys the bridge?
Well, that is a possibility. I can't argue with that. But not many at the bridge know who or what I am. Only Vert, Tamlin, yourself, and your friends have an idea and understanding. The rumor of what happened near Traverton is mostly rumor. Perhaps the big thing suddenly becomes me. Perhaps
You don't want that.
no. I haven't quite picked
Okay.
sides yet, Velev.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Well,
on
I mean-
it still.
You're on our side.
I'm
It's the good side.
I'm your friend, Velev. That doesn't mean that I'm on my friend's side. Do you know the difference?
Not
Oh.
entirely.
Not a king.
But that kind of hurts a little bit.
Well, I do apologize for that, but I will act in our best interest. But I may not be ready to act in their best interest. I've already
been
I
caused
understand.
I've caused some harm and I've caused some concern. I have to keep that in mind. But
Yeah.
Velev, I will ask you this one final time, just in case. I am of a mind to go far west. I'm of a mind, for some reason, something pulls me towards that direction. Do you want to come with me?
Don't do it.
Don't leave us.
Don't do it.
Wrong.
Ever since I've been discovering these new magics in me, there is a word that comes up time and time again in my mind. Something is there and meant for me to find, and I don't know why. Have you ever heard of a place called Candle Keep?
It sounds familiar.
Ooh, if
Like
he
maybe
waits,
it
we
was
can
a
go with him.
Book series.
Yeah, hello.
Oh.
Something- Something
Sounds
calls and pulls me there. I don't know why, but I feel I must
familiar.
go there. I have an idea of where it might be, but it's a long journey, Velev.
Do you
I would
know?
have read stories. Yeah.
Meta pigeons all over the place.
Sorry,
Meta
yeah,
pigeons.
but yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know? Do you know how long it'll be? Cause, or
It
when
would-
you plan on leaving? Because
it would be a
I
journey
would want to
of-
say
it would
bye
be
to
a
my
j-
family.
It would be a journey of discovery, Velev. I don't know how far it is. I'm
Oh.
not sure where it is. I have an idea of where it might be. It could take
Would-
days or it could take months.
Would having
years.
a group of adventurers that have like a magic carpet and lots of really cool magic weapons, and they can build lots of things and be really helpful. Would that be a good group of people to maybe have come with you on your journey of discovery?
Give me a persuasion with advantage, please. You and Scorch
Clever.
do have a friendly relationship, so this would play into
Very
it.
fun.
You said persuasion with advantage.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a 2 or a 1?
It's a 19.
Roll.
Plus
Oh!
1.
Plus 1,
It's
20.
a really good thing it was with advantage because the first one was a 3.
Yeah. The DC was a 20.
Oh!
Scorch looks at you
Yeah.
for a moment. Do you think your friends would be willing to come as well?
Well, a couple of them are off doing some stuff, like their own things right now, so I think that's kind of like part of how the group works. Like if you have to go and do something like for yourself or for your family or your friends or other, like you go and you do it, but we come back and we still help each other out.
Leave Kai. She would so go with
Well, I suppose this is a thought. Let's return and discuss it with your friends in the morning.
Okay.
I'll linger for the bridge celebration. I'm interested to see what transpires.
Yeah. And if you don't want to like be too close, because if anything happens, just be careful. But also, we might need your help.
Fair enough. Let us go back. And the two of you, polite conversation. He transforms back into his dragon form, and you make your way
Jeez, he's
back.
getting big.
And the two of you camp in the wilderness. So everybody go ahead and take a long rest. Check off your long rest. Because I know for some of you, you've been heavily injured and wounded, as they say. Although I'm sure Apollo is fine because he has not engaged in combat yet. So he's got his
my
full,
channel divinity
yeah.
back. I got my
full stack
spells.
of hit points.
He's been trying
Don't
to.
Don't
engage
forget,
in a long
if you
rest
want
the last 20
to
minutes.
adjust your spell,
Just my spells.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta add Speak with Dead for this morning. And last night I wrote the letter to the Regent of Traverton.
okay, fair enough. At some point, Arena, you have a quick conversation with Rove the Aarakocra. He is wearing the standard of the Firebrand Armory, a new kind of sigil and emblem that's been created. It is an image of the mercantile chimera, and then each chimera head is actually a representation of each of the founding members of the chimera. And then there's an
Oh my god, I love it!
and then there's an emblazoned kind of sun in the back of it. He's wearing new kind of
Oh, Gulshaw,
leather.
you have to draw that.
He's got new leather attire that's been gifted to him by Vimac.
Okay.
And he tells you that he's been made the master scout of the particular group, and that they are making plans to leave for Traverton within the next couple of days after they've done some gathering and acquiring of other individuals to escort to Traverton. So you are now caught up to date on the plans of Vimac and the Fiery Brand Armory garrison that is beginning to organize.
I would go up to Vimac before they leave. And
Well, they're not leaving for a couple days, so you've got time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So all of you wake up after a long rest. You gather for the early morning meal. There's a sense of intensity and excitement throughout. You watch as a very nervous Lord Silverhand is pacing in front of his pavilion. He's got some kind of parchment in hand, and he seems to be practicing a speech. He's got his personal retinue kind of like prepared. Tamlin and Vert are there wearing their prescribed finery of court, their normal attire that they would wear whenever serving court with Lord Silverhand. There's even a couple of those merchants that make up the inner cadre that are there as well. The money exchanger, the gemsmith, a couple of the other mercantile folks that have gained and garnered influence over the council and slightly involved in the council, which reminds you that when taking possession of Traverton and beginning to wield your political influence and economic influence, at some point you will be approached to pick someone to serve on the order of council that meets and organizes at least 2-3 times a year, depending on the requirements. This is what keeps all the outlying communities kind of connected and intertwined with each other. The nature of everything around you is electric, this feeling of absolute excitement. Most of the crowd of the construction site has now gathered out at the almost kind of like massive stage that's been prepared on this side of the chasm. There's already a series of people streaming across from the other side and kind of mingling with the carnival-like atmosphere on this space. You can see where the Fiery Brand mercenaries are fulfilling the last call of their requirements. At some point, as all of you are lingering amongst the food table, you watch as Lord Silverhand comes over to Kai. They exchange quick pleasantries. You watch as he kind of nods at all of you and he says, well, today's the day. And he just kind of pulls himself together, and him and his begin to make their way towards the massive crowd. At some point, Gulsha, your uncle and aunt, come to say their goodbyes. They lean in, give you hugs, well wishes, tell you that they're very proud, that they will come back next season, like they always do in the tail end of winter and the beginning of spring, like they always travel. They will bring more goods, more exotics, and they will, hey, we're getting raided. I guess that's it, everybody. We've been raided. That was the surprise. Everybody dies. Hey, thanks, Bearpen, for the raid. We appreciate it. So with that, Gulsha, you see your aunt and uncle. They wish you well, tell you how proud of you they are, and you watch as they turn and leave with the remnants of their caravan. Arena, you're standing there kind of taking all this in, and two familiar tabaxi approach you. The one female tabaxi. Well, I must say this has been a very interesting month, to say the least. But me and my brother have completed our time here, and we will be rejoining Frostfur. Now that the bridge is open, there are so many new places to see, so many new places to go.
Pretty soon we're going to have Traverton open.
Ah, good. I wish you well for that. Now, while we are out and about, we will look for the things that I know that young Arena and Ghost perhaps would want. Is there anything exotic that comes to mind that you can think of, perhaps?
Exotic. I mean, you know the things that I like.
Well, yes, some of them try to eat you.
Well, yes. I did try and get a T-Rex egg.
Well, I'm also referring to that monstrosity of an baby elephant thing. That it is being taken care of. You are aware of how big that can get, yes?
Yeah, we've been talking to Silverhand about setting aside a bigger area for it. Yes.
Ah, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Well,
because we have some basilisk eggs too.
Well, say goodbye to Mike and his wife for us. Say goodbye to the others for us. We are leaving this morning. Our job is done. I have left you the captured slaver's wagon. You're free to do with it as you choose. We took some things from it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the possession of the Chimera. I'm understanding that you have another one back in Whist as well, correct?
Yes. I believe Frostfur left it there.
Good to know. Well, we wish you luck. And you can hear crowds.
I wish you luck too, and I look forward to seeing you the next time you come through Whist.
Yes. It's been good working with you. And you watch as the brother and sister just kind of look at you, give you hugs,
I
give
him
little
hugs back.
scrunchies to Ghost, and they kind of disappear amongst the crowd that's gradually growing and flowing and ebbing about. You all are now kind of commingling in this massive crowd of unique, exotic individuals. You can see a massive stage kind of like up and over, and there is both the faces of the bedraggled, starved, and individuals that have been on the run for many, many days, commingling with the construction workers and those that have traveled from the far-flung regions of the center portions of Bith. You watch as Lord Silverhand begins to approach the stage, and as he gets on the stage, the crowd cheers wildly and then quiets down into a low murmur as you watch Lord Silverhand clear his throat. And with a sense of magic around him, his voice is unusually loud as it booms across and out into the crowd. Well, friends, family, well-wishers, it was always the desire of my wife to bring the old world together with the one we're trying to save. Some of us have very little knowledge of what this world once was. Most of us have very little hope that it will ever be anything more than a place of suffering, malcontent, and destructive waste. This bridge brings us all together again. And the crowd erupts, there's cheering, everything kind of like, there's just...
Sounds like somebody's about to attack him. Can I do a perception check before you continue with any more words?
Yeah, feel free.
Yes, I would like a perception check too.
Whoever wants to make one, feel free.
Okay. This just sounds like the part where he's about to get sniped. I don't know, like... I've seen too many
that would be
Marvel
terrible.
movies.
Not that I'm good at perception, but
23.
23?
I
Well,
had a
Ev?
17.
17?
crit. It was almost a crit, but it rolled over. It's a freaking 10.
Okay.
I
25.
hate that.
Okay. Goldshaw, what'd you get?
Oh, I get to roll perception too. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are all watching this speech. You'd be aware of what's going on around you.
Well, and Gulshaw's paranoid and has been thinking everyone's going to attack the...
He almost needs advantage because he's so paranoid.
That is Apollo, actually. That's the one that is paranoid.
So it'd be
True.
I got a 19.
True.
19. So as a group, average, it's pretty good. You're coursing through the faces of the crowds around you. You're looking at the smiles and the hope and the desperation on many different types of individuals cheering and reacting very positively. No one sees anything out of the ordinary. The speech goes on to describe how bringing these two separated spaces back together, about the bringing back economy and commerce, hope and thought, bringing back the good parts of the old world while leaving the bad parts of the old world behind. The speech goes on for about 15 minutes until he gets to the conclusion of the speech. All of you now have a D10 of inspiration from listening to the entirety of the speech.
Woo, woo. Let's go.
It's with
Again, maybe.
It's with this understanding that this bridge brings hope, it brings light, and it brings with it the certainty that we will find a way through all of this, that we will find the understanding, the hope, the discipline that it takes to save this world, our world. And as that happens, a series of fireworks just go off behind him. Confetti, magical, glittering, arcanic confetti comes down. The crowd is just roaring and cheering. People are just pouring through the gaps of the line on the bridge. And the morning concludes, speech is given, and that's where we're going to finish tonight, folks.
And the bridge is opened? Wait, and the bridge is opened?
And the
And
bridge
the
is
bridge is
opened.
That means we leveled up. That's it. I don't know if that actually means that. It's just it seemed
What'd
like
you
it would be
say?
a milestone. I'm like, that means we leveled up. It just seemed like it would be a milestone. The bridge is open.
Actually, the bridge is a milestone.
Oh!
So I do follow milestones. So everybody gets to go ahead and level up tonight.
Let's go.
Oh, awesome.
Sweet pick.
I'm
See, now all of a
finally
sudden,
level
now all of a sudden
11.
Tusk is awake.
I've been awake. I have not fallen asleep once.
Oh, I think the driving rain would beg to disagree on that conclusion.
In this
Friday.
campaign.
Every
In this
Friday.
campaign. In this campaign, all right?
So with
Hey,
that,
have
Okay,
closed
I
my
have
eyes.
woken up with Tusk, to be fair.
so feel free to roll your hit points. Start looking at your feats and other things. It's
I get defeat.
yes, you get defeat. So for all of our
We
watchers
get-
out there, thank you for joining. We do have giveaway channels in our Discord, so be sure to jump over to our Discord, win some dice, win some miniatures, play and watch some games. We have lots of fun over there. So please click on the abouts about our co-creators. And our Discord link is down there as well, so feel free.
That's okay.
And I am giving away my mini if I do win one to anybody who knows me personally. I will roll to decide which one if I do win.
Cool.
Just saying.
So with that, everybody, thanks for coming out. We appreciate you all. And as I always say, stay safe out there, be kind, and probably the most important thing you can ever do is play a game. It's good for you. Do it and have fun. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.